Guys, welcome back to another episode of Southern Extreme TV. Today we're going to be talking about the calling differences between daytime and nighttime hunting for coyotes. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you're new to Southern Extreme TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. I try to bring you guys videos every single week, especially during the hunting season. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me on my channel. Let's dive straight into today's topic. This question was actually brought up by a viewer on YouTube who either dropped a comment on one of my videos or responded to one of my posts. I do want to apologize. My voice is a little raspy. I've been kind of down and out these past couple days, so I'm trying to come out of it. So let's dive straight into it. What are the differences in hunting coyotes in the daytime and the nighttime? There are a lot of similarities that you can carry over from hunting at night to the daytime and vice versa. But in my opinion, there are some differences, and there's some things that I'm going to do a little bit different whenever I'm hunting them during the day versus when I'm hunting them at night. Let's start off with some of the similarities. First of all, the wind direction. I'm not going to give up the wind direction in the daytime that I would sacrifice at nighttime. If the wind direction is wrong or the wind direction is bad, it's going to be bad at nighttime, it's going to be bad at daytime, and those coyotes are going to treat that wind the exact same way. So if I'm going to hunt a field with a crosswind and it's a little extra walk to get to it, I'm going to do that. Whether I hunt them in the daytime or whether I hunt them at night, that wind direction does not matter. I'm going to try to get to a crosswind stage of that field or of that patch of timber that I'm hunting. So wind direction, same thing. The next thing is going to be your calling sequence, and I want to be kind of specific about what I'm talking about when I say that the calling sequences are similar. And what I mean by that is the type of calls. So let's say that it is September, October, November. You've got those pups that are straight out of the den, or not straight out of the den, but the pups are old enough to be out of the den kind of on their own. They're still packed up, real grouped up. The types of sounds that I'm going to be using is going to be really, really strong vocalization sounds. So the type of calling sequence that I use during the daytime of those months versus at night will be the exact same. So I'm going to go in, be heavy on the vocalizations, and then maybe follow on the tail end of that calling sequence with distress sounds. Now I want to pause right there, and I want to talk about one of the differences between daytime and nighttime hunting. Even though I'm going to be using that same calling sequence, if you will, I like to stretch out the durations of those calls a lot more in the daytime. And what I mean by that is, if I howl at nighttime, and let's say that I'm only going to play that howl for 15 to 20 seconds and then pause it, you still want to do the same thing in the daytime, but rather than switching straight over to another sound, I like to play that howl maybe 2 or 3 times in the daytime, but I have a longer period of pause, a longer, I guess, quiet period, if you want to call it that, during the daytime. And the reason for that is I want you guys to think about a coyote and think about when he typically moves the most, and that's at nighttime. So what you want to think of is, when you're trying to call that coyote in the daytime versus at night, think about where that coyote's at and think about the mood he's going to be in. If it's nighttime, that coyote is probably out of the den, roaming, looking for food, looking for other coyotes, or really trying to defend his territory. So there's a good chance that that coyote is going to respond to that call a lot quicker and a lot more aggressive than he will in the daytime. Not to say that they're not going to be aggressive in the daytime, but typically at nighttime they're going to be a little more aggressive. So my calling sequence and the calling strategy during the day, I'm going to be a little slower, a little more reserved, and I'm going to take things just a little bit slower. This is 100% my opinion. There's a lot of guys out there that have a lot of success going in during the daytime and being as aggressive as they are at night, but applying it to the daytime. Me, here in North Carolina on the East Coast, I have not been that fortunate. Whenever I call my coyotes in during the day, typically I have to drag my sets out and I have to really take my time on calling. So that's one of the big differences, and it's kind of a cross between being a similarity and a difference. The type of calls I'm using and the type of sequence that I'm using is the exact same for the given time of year, but I drag those durations out a little bit longer. The second difference that I really want to talk about is the volume. When I'm playing a call at nighttime, I do not worry about my volume as much as I do during the daytime. Now, I preach and preach and preach to not call too loud whenever you are playing a distress sound. Playing a distress sound way too loud does not sound natural and does not sound normal to a coyote. However, you can get away with a lot louder distress sound at nighttime than you will during the day. And the reason for that is a coyote, even though he can see really, really well at nighttime, sometimes they cannot judge the distance at night the way that they can during the day. So in the daytime, that volume control is going to be probably, in my opinion, the most important aspect of calling. And it's going to be the main difference, in my opinion, between calling during the day and calling at night. If you take anything out of this video, let that be the one thing that you take away. Calling at night and calling during the day can be the exact same, but during the day you need to be quieter. And I'm talking across the board, howls, distress sounds, you name it, I'm gonna be quieter during the day. My howls, sometimes I can get away with them being as loud during the day as they are at nighttime. But typically during the day, I like to be a little more relaxed, take my time calling, and even so with my howls, I want them to be a little more relaxed sounding than they do at nighttime. It's just what I've had success with. Some guys may disagree with that, but that's just my personal opinion. So let's look back at kind of what I'm talking about between night and day. The two differences, your calling sequences, drag it out, take things a little bit slower, try to coax those coyotes in almost like you're calling a bobcat, be a little slower, a little more methodical about it, versus at nighttime where you're going in and you're calling for 10, 15, 20 minutes, you're packing your stuff and you're getting out of there. Try to devote 30 to 45 minutes worth of calling during the day and take things slower than you would at night. The second difference is your volume, and this is the number one thing. Do not play your call too loud during the daytime. Play it soft, play it quiet, play it smooth. At nighttime, you can get away with a little bit louder sounds. The one thing about calling at night and at day that can stay the same is going to be your wind direction. Make sure you set up with a good wind. And then also your calling sequence, whether it be howls or distress sounds, whatever works good in your area for that time of year, do the same thing at nighttime as you would in the day as far as howls or distress sounds. Just drag them out a little bit longer if it's in the daytime. Guys, hopefully this video will help you guys distinguish something you may be doing wrong if you're trying to call that coyote in during the day, or if you're a daytime hunter trying to switch over to a nighttime hunter. Typically, swapping from daytime to nighttime, you don't have a problem with. It's those nighttime guys that try to swap over and hunt those coyotes during the day where you see a little bit of a transition issue. So hopefully this video will help you guys out, and hopefully it'll help put some more coyotes in the back of your truck. If you're new to Southern Extreme TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the top left corner and stay tuned for all the videos I got coming up in the future. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'll see you next time.